Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming, where we're here with the whole cast and crew.
If you put a popsicle in your butt, do you get a brain freeze?
No, you get a butt freeze. We're here with that awful thing from McLokin and everyone's dad, Johnny. Let's jump right into this. If you guys like this brand of nonsense, please check us out on our Patreon. If you want to talk about this brand of nonsense, go to the Discord, and most importantly, in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you will see the corruption bar that serves two purposes. Purpose one is when that bar fills, Johnny gets to do whatever the hell he wants to us, which last time was attack us with evil dogs twice. And the more important thing is every dollar that goes into that bar goes back to these wonderful, beautiful, amazing players here that you see before you. That being said, Johnny, take us into the world of Thra. You're muted, but I'm sure you said no.
No, I'm not muted. I don't know what you're talking about. You guys make fun of me all the time. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to sit here.
You're fine.
I feel like that's mostly what you do.
I'm sorry, what?
What?
Huh?
I don't know what's happening today.
I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Previously on...
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Wait. Previously on Age of Darkness. The discovery of the podling changed things. The group had investigated the village thoroughly, and the choice to leave was one of certainty that they had seen everything. The discovery that it was empty except for the Fizzgigs, Ruth, and Neb left them uncertain. The investigation led them to uncover unusually large tracks and slashing marks on the dwellings. And the discovery of the dream etchings and the memories that they held were unsettling. Something or someone had kidnapped the Gelflings. But it was the discovery of the podling Tog that gave them pause. Initially scared of the Gelflings, it was through the efforts of Velfa and Alua that the group was able to get him to calm down. Giving him a bit of food, they were slowly able to get his story. He's from a podling village to the south, sent to trade with the Gelflings for food. In describing what the village was experiencing, the group can only come to the conclusion that the podlings are experiencing the darkening. With the choice of whether to follow the tracks or to investigate the podling village in front of them, the group chose the podlings. The journey takes them south over the rolling hills and the fields of grain that the Sprighton plains are known for. It's about midway through their journey to the podling village that they hear an unusual sound. Upon climbing a rock to investigate, Toll makes a shocking discovery. A small pack of striders are running for their lives and heading towards the group. Hiding from the striders so that they are not trampled, the group is surprised to discover that the striders are being pursued by a pack of Rakita. While Toll mistakenly tussles with a Rakita pup, it calls out in its dying moments to the rest of the pack. Now facing down 3 adult Rakita, the group reluctantly defends itself. Toll downs one with his crossbow, while Alua catches another off guard with a punch right in its snout. Velfa shows that she's more than just a bookworm when she takes a staff and attacks the third. It's when Nock tries to get the upper hand in the fight that the circumstances change. As we fade in, Nock is on the ground. Hovering over him is a growling Rakita who moves in for a bite.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I forgot we ended mid-combat. That was a bitch. I blacked out.
So I'm gonna look quickly at the game table, and it looks like Nock was the last one to go. And this Rakita kind of hovering over you, it was a situation where you were, I believe, on its back, and you were using your knife to stab at it, and I
thought I blinded one. Wasn't I like using didn't I blind it?
You started with a blind, and then that one got punched in the nose by Alua.
Oh,
and then you jumped on the one. Then you jumped on the one that Velfa was just hitting with a broomstick, or just a stick, not even a broomstick.
From the back, yeah.
Perfect.
And so when you were on the back of this thing, so we got 2 corruptions last game. And as we talked about before, corruptions are going to be uninterruptible GM intrusions. You still get the XP for them. But yeah, this was the second of the 2 uninterruptible corruptions or GM intrusions. And basically what it did was you were on its back and stabbing. Velfa was continuing to kind of distract and hammer at it from the behind. And it just decided to change the circumstance and rolled itself so that you rolled off of it and onto the ground, kind of pinned for just a second, kind of out of breath, and it immediately got up and then moved on top of you and hovered and was reaching down to kind of bite at you.
Yeah, I was just hoping that this was the one I blinded.
Yeah, well, even if you did blind it, there's still the smell. And when you're looking at this thing too, as it's kind of coming down for its bite, you can see that there is a purple tint to its eyes. Mm-hmm. It's definitely been affected by the darkening.
That's good.
Oh, I think it's absolutely fantastic. This was a great use of the corruption. So it's coming down at you. You're going to get a moment to actually respond, and then we'll start back with sort of the normal initiative order.
Okay, so I can respond. How would I like to do that? I would like to
something good.
Run away. No.
You're prone. You're pinned and prone, basically.
I'm pinned and prone. Okay. Can I need a good thing to help me here. I can perform small tricks. Okay. I've got an idea. If I use my hedge magic to make myself like temporarily invisible, can it make it so that this thing is like confused and give me a second to like kind of wriggle away and get out of its grasp?
I don't think you can achieve invisibility, but I think you can befuddle the thing enough to be distracted.
I was thinking like less invisibility and more like kind of like a chameleon effect. But maybe that's still out of my grasp. Yeah, okay. Basic appearance of a small object. I don't think I count as a small object.
No, you are definitely a living, breathing being.
Okay, here's what I will do instead. I will use my erase memory move to just try to confuse the hell out of it and use that to make my escape. I'm just gonna mind blast it.
Okay, sure.
Here's the move.
Wow.
So I just wanted to basically like, because going back 5 minutes would be like before this encounter really started. So it'll just be like, whoa, what the fuck? Why am I not chasing Striders anymore?
Great. Yes, you can do that. It's difficulty 4.
That's low-key terrifying.
So if I spend the cost, I think I can just do. Oh wait, on a success, make an intellect roll.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some things just happen. Some things require you to roll also and spend it.
Dang. All right. I have spent the 3. It is a difficulty 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can. So spending to use your ability is 1 cost. You can also, on top of that, spend more intellect to reduce that 4 to a 3 if you'd like.
Right. I can, since I have edge 1, I can spend 2 to lower it 1.
Yes.
I will do so. Okay, no assets. Boom.
Success.
So I think like what happens is like Nock is like pinned, and like maybe there's like a moment where he's just like kind of like squirming and wriggling desperately, you know, making some like frantic paddling noises. And then he like realizes that the only way he's gonna get out is by sort of invoking his magic. I think he sort of like makes eye contact with the thing and begins humming this strange discordant tune. It probably sounds a little bit, it's something that you sometimes hear in throat singing from Mongolia, where they like make this humming, vibrating noise in the back of their throat, and it sounds almost a little bit like a low cicada. I think it's a noise a little bit like that, and then this thing just gets like this flood of magical energy as it like just busts its mind.
Okay, as it sort of overwhelms this thing and just kind of washes over it, it steps back a little bit as it's just kind of like feeling the effects of this. Belfa, as this thing is like experiencing this, and you see that there's something that Nock has done, it starts to back up slowly towards you. Do you continue to hammer at it, or do you
No, so she's, I think as that happens, it starts to come back towards her, and she's like had a moment to kind of like as things have started to happen, and she's going to kind of start to get a little bit nervous, and is going to kind of start to back up and kind of to be more cautious and protective and in a defensive place for herself to kind of like see what is going on.
Okay. Do you want to take any particular action at this point?
I don't think she would attack right now. Because I don't know if there's a thing that she can do just to kind of like be ready to defend herself if something were to come for her.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an ability in this system for something like that.
A dodge action or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, I think if you spend your entire action just acting defensively, you get like a +1 asset on your on the next attack on you.
Right. So as this thing is kind of moving back, you take up a stance and position. Alua, Toll, you see that that there's something has befuddled, giving you both a moment to kind of engage at this thing if you want.
I think Toll's turn's next.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot this bully. I'm gonna shoot him with my crossbow.
He's bullying me so hard.
Yeah, it's not. Difficulty was 3 for these things, if I recall.
Difficulty is 3 for these things. I would say that because it's befuddled, it's actually going to be a 2, since it's not going to be really aware of its situation right at this moment. So
that gives me an asset on that, and then I will fail. I'll fail. I'll roll a 2. I'll roll a 2, Johnny. A 2. I'm shouting at Johnny, chat, which is no context to you, because in the last game we played together, I rolled several 2s. I rolled above a 10 or a 2, and that was it.
Yeah, I believe you made 10 rolls in that session.
5 of them were 2s.
And 5 of them were 2s. You realize that you need to dice shame that 20, right?
I'm a little triggered by what's happening.
Well, it's because you were actually rolling dice, right? There is a difference there.
True.
Okay.
He's gonna cry anyway. Okay.
That, as you take aim, where are you aiming towards? Like when you like kind of line this shot up, tell me about how you take aim with this crossbow of yours.
You know what? I don't even think I do. I think I'm confident enough about what's been happening because I relatively was kicking these things' asses. And collectively, we were kicking its ass for sure. And I see that it's kind of like doing this like punch drunk kind of situation. And so
not quite.
Well, it's doing whatever it's doing. And I sort of just like kick the crossbow that's on the ground because it was on the ground. And that's what triggers it. And it just goes way off. Like I didn't even bother aiming. I was like, oh, I can get that. And then I very much didn't. Clearly.
All right.
So this did nick the thing, and it did kind of wake it up, and it's starting to shake itself a little bit. It doesn't remember what happened, but it gave Nock an opportunity to be able to kind of do his thing and just kind of step back.
If Nock is in the clear, I'm gonna go for another punch, I think.
This was quite effective last time.
It was, which means what was the difficulty?
That move needs no weapon is so good.
It is.
It's incredibly
so
dangerous. All right, so difficulty 3, because this thing is no longer befuddled. It's starting to kind of shake itself and become aware of its situation again.
Success.
Wow. That includes a major effect. This the last time that you rolled this roll, and I'm going to scroll back into the scroll back just a little bit, but I believe the last... I believe it was your punch that actually did it. Yes, it was. Look at that. It was also a 20. So please, narrate for us what happens when you punch this thing.
I'm gonna punch this thing, trying to completely knock it out or incapacitate it. Also, probably holding on to my podling a little bit with my other hands. Falcon Bane punch, holding podling. So I forgot he's still on my shoulders.
Right. So
and
this
then
thing.
just
Sorry, go
get
ahead.
up and assess whether or not it's alive or breathing. Or...
Right. So this thing just, as it's kind of shaking itself, you move in and you hit it the same way you hit the other one on the snap. You catch it completely by surprise. And it's sort of that downward motion that we talked about with the last one. And since this one sort of just, launching it to basically to the ground, kind of knocking it off of its feet as it just continues to settle and just sleep very soundly. This thing is completely knocked out.
All right, on that note, let's get the hell out of here. Please.
That was almost very bad.
Yes, and it's not dead, so we might want to,
It could have been worse. And he like scoops up his crossbow and latches it to his back again.
Alpha kind of like looks around and is kind of just like a little like kind of come down from adrenaline, a little terrified, and then starts to just sort of grab her things and put on her bag and kind of like just huddles up behind people as like we start getting ready to go. Kind of just staying quiet a little.
Alua will probably pat her on the back just a little too hard, not on purpose. But you're all right there, kid. It's fine.
I am very glad I was not eaten.
You crushed that thing with your backpack.
I didn't really know what else to do. I kind of just, I don't know. I just saw it on top of you, and I didn't want you to die.
I didn't want
Best
to die
weapon she
also,
has.
so I mean, well done. You did great.
Thank you.
Backpack. I'll have to carry one.
You want to
What's
borrow
in my
mine?
book?
It's got a podling on it.
He gives you one pat. That's it.
Just one.
Just like a.
She stands up a little more proud, sort of like,
I'll trade you mine. It's got this podling on it. You
No,
want
I'm
that?
gonna pass. It's gonna be a pass for me. I don't want.
You all right there, buddy?
I don't want
You
anything
all
to do with
right?
that. What was its name? Toggle.
Tog.
Doing okay, buddy.
I was asking. It's it, Johnny. God.
It's oh, okay, fine. No, it's holding on so tight. Like now that the action has stopped, all you can feel on your back, Alua, is this sort of shaking thing, right? It's shaking so bad, and you're kind of like rattled by it, and you just have to like kind of shake it up, and it kind of looks around and jumps down and looks at all four of you, and then immediately turns around and vomits in the grass.
Oh, well, that's effective.
Oh, okay.
I pat him on his back.
This episode should have been titled "The Patting of the Backs."
Do you guys think he's gonna be like that for a while, or we should go?
She'll fish out something containing water. You sip on that. Let's keep walking.
As it turns out, I am not an expert on podling physiology, but I can imagine it only has so much vomit inside of it.
It's usually how vomit works.
Hopefully
Yeah.
a tiny amount.
though still a very surprisingly large amount.
Yes, I would say that is already not tiny, but,
Gross.
Are we leaving?
I think we should go. I'd like to go.
So as the four of you begin to kind of move and you begin to kind of guide Tog along, he's still kind of like dry heaving a little bit and taking a sip from the water and then just kind of dry heaving a little bit more and slowly having his digestive system and his all just kind of like start to settle a little bit. You notice that the fizz gigs have still not sort of come out from their hiding. They're just like, they're really sort of just kind of still like shaking in little balls and kind of tucking their heads, into your necks. They're not relaxing at all. And as you continue on down, you realize that the plains are even more quiet than before. Though you do see one of the striders kind of running off into the distance off to your left. kind of circling around a little bit to come back and kind of see what was going on with the one strider that fell.
Oh, right, and they had purple eyes too.
Yes, they did.
I don't know that we have time for this.
Yeah, I think we got a podling first.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Velfa, do you want to calm the puppy things down? That's up to you.
I mean, they're being quiet. They're not.
Right,
What do you mean to do?
we need to get out of here. Just grab them.
Aren't they? They're like sitting on us already. So
They are sitting, but they're
Yeah.
just.
Oh,
they're
I
just
thought they were like hiding.
Yeah, they're completely
Never
petrified.
mind. Never mind.
yeah, they're on us. So I think we're good to go.
Okay.
All right. So as you continue on, the suns begin to dip behind the horizon, and the podling Tog, while continuing to have a little bit of like sobs and heaving, otherwise appears to be doing okay. But at a certain point, as the sun goes down, he starts to slow a little bit, and he says, "Ado, stop!" And he kind of moves off into the grass and goes to sit down.
What are you doing?
He shakes his head. No go.
Oh. All right, I guess we're done here.
Well, no go. She points to approximately where his village is. Home?
And he yields up his hands. He says, Aodui. And he's indicating it's like small distance. But then he kind of points, hey, brothers gone. Sisters bad. And by sisters, he's indicating that the 3 moons that rise after the brothers dip on the horizon. Stay till brothers, is what he says.
You want to camp?
Yes.
In the middle of the plains. And your village is only a short distance away.
And that thing's gonna wake up. She points to the sleepy boy.
You've been traveling for a couple of hours now, so
Okay.
you've gone much farther as you're starting to get farther and farther south, and you're starting to see, trees and other kinds of things. But as you're kind of like assessing the situation, the last of the brothers dips below the horizon, and it gets cold as that happens, and he says, "Village, worse, sisters."
What?
I kind of wondered if.
Yeah.
Do you think what was wrong with them might be in his village too?
Have we ever seen that, Johnny? Are the podlings becoming affected by the darkening?
Give me some sort of a knowledge check of some kind, an intellect roll of some kind.
I think I'm just going to straight up ask that to Velfa.
I think that's a great idea.
Are the podlings showing signs of darkening? I've only seen it in animals.
Can I roll an intellect and see if Alpha would know?
Yes.
Maybe can I help?
What difficulty?
This is going to be a really simple, relatively simple difficulty, so it's going to be difficulty 2.
Okay. And is Nock able to help?
Yeah, I'm thinking like Nock travels a lot, and so he also speaks a little bit of podling, so he may know this.
Based on the travel, though, Nock, would you have spent a lot of time among the podlings, especially in the last year?
I mean, I think since he travels around, he would have spent some time with most groups. And podlings probably more often than you would think, just because a lot of the other clans are much more likely to want the weirdo to go somewhere else, whereas the podlings probably don't really care that much about his weird ideas.
Sure, I get that.
It's true.
That's That's why we keep inviting him back.
What'd you get? I'm sorry.
7 success.
Yeah, I'm 7. Okay. So I'm going to assume that she knows a little bit about it. Well,
So I'm sorry. Let me ask you this question before you actually answer.
Mhm.
As a part of the cultural stuff that the Velfa is studying, is any of it, because when you talked about the knowledge that she has about the clans and everything else, how much of it is about interspecies relations between the podlings and the gelflings?
so I would think because the Vapra do like that yearly cleaning thing and go around and work with the
Order of the
podlings
Lesser Service.
and where she is like working in like the library and like with the all of that. I think a lot of reports would come in, and probably because she is still very young, a lot of that would probably come past her to sort or to send to people. And I would imagine like if she were to know about this, perhaps something came by and she was very curious about what they're doing with the yearly cleaning,
Totally.
And maybe some kind of report came in.
Okay, absolutely. Then
That she would have been like,
then the answer would be no specifically, but that's not based on that's based on things that you would have heard.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really sure if anybody's actually seen an actual case.
Mm-hmm. All right. I've read a lot of scrolls and we get a lot of reports in Harar. And we've had various reports from various different creatures and nothing specifically saying that it was them or wasn't affecting the podlings, but I would assume that there is still a high chance that it could affect the podlings.
Oh, but wait. If that's what he's talking about, that the podlings might have the darkening, why would the night make them worse? They'd still have that problem in the daytime, just like the Rafters we fought.
I mean, it might be a lot more dangerous for us to go there at night because, well, it's dark and I can't see in the dark.
I just feel like if it's dangerous to stay in a village, it's more dangerous to stay outside the village. I don't know what you said, Alua. It was very quiet.
It's fine. Just thinking very softly today. I sleep up in the tree a lot. I could set something up for us. It's relatively safe, right?
I'm also pretty tired. I wouldn't mind a rest.
Okay, I guess we make camp.
Tree camp?
Yeah, tree camp.
I love trees.
Alu would go to work with all the random equipment in her backpack, set up little hammocks and a little area in the middle where they could
Nice.
do stuff.
I will use my magic to light a fire for us.
That'd be nice.
That
That
was
was
the
the
only
only
waste
thing.
time.
In a tree?
Well, I'm imagining I can it's like a
Floating?
so first off, I don't know if you realize this, Johnny, but you need a pretty big fire to light like a full-grown tree on fire. Like a campfire is not really gonna do that. Like if it's a big enough tree that we can camp inside the base of it, we can have a small fire without like worrying too much.
Okay. All right. I'm not. I'll
Imagine we're camped out around the base, but maybe we're going to sleep up top.
That works.
all right.
It's the
So,
key.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm starting to fire up like in the branches. Yeah, that would be a mistake.
Listen,
Unless
Johnny,
it was like floating and we were doing marshmallows.
If the Keebler elves can have ovens and bake cookies inside of a tree,
He's got a point.
Are we switching from Gelflings to Keebler elves?
I mean,
Because if we
Basically
are,
the same thing.
are they though?
Wow. Rude.
you just insulted an entire generation.
Are they though?
Now I want to see a campaign based on Keebler elves. Okay, it's over. Let's go. We gotta.
as long as the Keebler elves can venture around that world that Wendy's created as the part of that terrible RPG that they published, to be the heroes of the day, freeing everyone from the evil, Queen Wendy, I'm all about that.
I'd play that.
I know you would.
I'm out.
All right. So as we're getting settled in, Velfa is going to have like clumsily climbed up to the tree and kind of like settled herself down and is going through a book and sort of reading it, and just her normally like night routine, not really thinking about much else, still very innocent to the world. Very much over the fight already. She's just like
she's so sweet. I think.
What about the rest of you?
I think Toll is the opposite, right? He's reflecting on the fight and how it went so wrong with so many people involved. If it was just one person, it would have been fine, or he would have been eaten and it would have been fine. And that's the circle of life. As he is like, readjusting his crossbow and like checking the string, checking the crank mechanisms, and kind of like sharpening his blade. And then he just kind of like looks up like mid whetstone stroke, and he just like looks to Velvet and says, "What are you reading?"
Oh, it's just she kind of flushes a little bit. It's a novel. She kind of looks down. It's about two gelfling on an adventure.
Tues starts smirking because she can see how embarrassed she is. Is this an adventure without pants?
I mean, there's portions of it that, it's all very, very strong story based, but I mean, it's very realistic.
I'm sorry. You should have pants on when you adventure. I don't know what that book is teaching you, but that's bad.
Alua just loses it and starts.
That's
giggling.
Not good practice. Like,
well, no. I mean, sometimes you wear pajamas when you sleep and other things.
You shouldn't. Not on an adventure. You should always be ready in case you get attacked in the middle of the night. You shouldn't change into. Do you have pajamas in that giant bag of yours?
Tom, have you ever had a girlfriend before? Alua says.
Malfa just has like her face in the book even deeper, like she's just beet red, just like really.
Not one that wore pajamas on an adventure. No.
I mean, I think they're pretty safe at night with their camp, and it's okay for them not to have their pajamas on.
Enjoy some relaxation. But Lua starts giggling.
I don't understand this kind of adventure. And he's just like, he's still using the whetstone. I don't understand.
I mean, if you like to read, I could let you borrow my book. I think it'd be very inaccurate as far as.
No, Velfa, you should definitely let him borrow that book.
Overland travel. It's
earmark where you're at right now.
So she kind of marks her. She's like, well, maybe you should read this part. It's like.
You know what? When
a very like sweet like romantic scene when she like goes to here and she like excitedly passes in the book. She's still pretty red, but she's like at the idea of sharing a book with someone else. She's like here, and she kind of leans down to.
Now, are they laying down for body heat together, or is this?
Yeah,
it gets pretty cold in the desert at night.
You gotta stay warm somehow.
Oh.
I think Nock is just playing background music to this whole conversation. And then, like, when she says that it gets cold in the desert, like, he just, like, this music stops for a second. He's just like, it does.
Velfa's gonna, like, come down from her hammock excitedly, like, as he's looking through it. And she, like, goes and, like, grabs the book from Toll and kind of, like, flips the pages. Oh, and yeah, look, they have a really cool fight right here. And, like, there's, like, a fight scene that he has.
The page you gave me was not an adventure.
Well, for some people, that is an adventure. And Alua just starts to climb back up into her bed. She doesn't say anything.
Now, see this, and there's a sword, and see when there's sword fighting, there's pants involved. At least in this.
Yeah, well, of course.
Well, sometimes.
What?
I think this is a work of fiction.
Yeah. I mean, they don't really. I mean, it could kind of be real. There's realistic parts.
Okay.
Sometimes.
All I'm saying is just
I think.
keep your pants on.
Well, I don't think I was planning on taking my pants off around you.
Well,
so
you read a lot of books, and you say you learn things from these books, and if you learn one thing from this book, keep your pants on. And he just closes the book and hands it back to you.
As he closes it, the front page of the book is like the very like typical Fabio, like.
But like a
it's a Dissonance. Yeah, it's a Dissonance.
Alua yelled down from the top of the tree.
So
Your
it's a
life isn't always
drenching,
that romantic.
a gelfling then, right? Very, very masculine, drenching gelfling,
Yeah.
flowing blonde hair, with a vapra sort of like wrapped in his arms, right?
Excellent. Excellent.
It's called A Lust in the Dunes.
Also kind of like is once again kind of more embarrassed and less excited and like takes it and just kind of climbs back up to where she was and like rolls over and kind of reads it to on her side.
That was not an informational book.
Perhaps I should write a book.
What would you write a book about?
Prosperity, gelfling rights, and freedom. Like my pamphlets, but longer.
That sounds incredibly tedious.
Well,
Well, you know, I might actually have a book you might like and see.
Gelfling rights are often tedious, Toll, but they are important.
Yeah.
Belfa's gonna like kind of like once again it's so excited about people being interesting in books. She's kind of digging through and she pulls out a book about Gelfling capitalism. And like tosses it down to Knock.
Knock will take great interest in this book. Before he gets ready to write Gelfling Animal Farm.
Jesus Christ.
Before Alua decides she's gonna pass out, she would kind of scan the horizon, anything she could see from the tree. Can I do a assessing danger roll?
Absolutely. And I have one question for you all after that happens. The difficulty is going to be 2.
Goddamn angel.
See everything
Wow.
from here. It's so beautiful.
Wow.
That's unlikely.
Wow.
This is what I get for not.
If you'd
rolling.
like,
What was the gelfling that live in the cave? I almost did that.
Yeah.
I should have.
if you like the idea of, or if you like, if you need an idea for the major effect, I have one for you.
Yeah, go for it. I'll take some help.
You see whatever Johnny's about to tell you, but also the perfect spot to set up an early warning system in case something attacks.
Some bells and whistles on the tree. Yeah. We'll assume I did that while I was putting the hammocks and stuff together.
I'm really unhappy right now. I do not like your dice rolls so much.
You see the ambush that I planned.
An early birthday present. It's fine.
It's not an ambush necessarily.
Kind of. We're all fucked. Maybe.
Well, it's not an ambush now.
We're gonna get 10 seconds to prepare. Everybody ready?
Well, it's more like an hour or two. So I'm imagining Alua, climbs her way all the way to the top of this tree to kind of assess a better situation. And she just, is able to definitely go up there. And you're kind of like looking around. You're used to being in high places because on a ship, sometimes you're in a crow's nest and you're just like, you're kind of taking it all in. And you're looking around and the moons are starting to rise a significant way, and you're looking off in the direction of the east. And as you're kind of looking that direction, you see way off in the distance what looks like a little bit of and some of the grasses on the plain kind of shifting a little bit, but it's way far off. You pay attention for a couple of minutes, though, and you realize that it is a slow-moving progress heading in your general direction. Not quite towards your tree, but you're definitely seeing something that is shifting and moving and shimmering.
Toll, you mind popping up here for a second? There's a thing moving. It's pretty far away.
Yeah, I'll come up there. And he kind of scrambles up the tree to take a look.
You could leave your pants on.
Whoa!
I didn't.
Belfa like looks over him.
What?
I'm just teasing you. Look, that direction, east, grass, moving.
Right. And he's gonna also scan the horizon to where Alua is pointing to.
So, taking in that situation, you notice that there's a group of some things that are moving, and so as the both of you are kind of paying attention and watching, you get an understanding that these things are going to move south past you, but they are moving in that general direction. That is your general direction. They may
Are they
come
headed towards the Podling village?
You don't quite know where the Podling village and Tog is, kind of shivering and just kind of hiding in one of the sort of hammocks that you've kind of stringed up, and he's not really looking out. He's feeling very safe, but at the same time a little scared because he's scared of heights. But he's not like moving. He won't come out and actually kind of give you an idea. However, if you watch them long enough, you see the line of these things are moving in a general direction that leads in sort of a southwest kind of a thing.
What do you think?
Southwest is the direction we're headed in, right, Johnny?
You're heading south, and these things are coming from the east, so they are definitely heading towards you.
And we can't tell what they are?
No, okay. So the moons
it's too far away.
It's too far away. The moons are just rising.
Yeah.
And the shimmering, the sort of the glint that you're seeing. If you pay enough attention to, after a certain amount of time, you realize that it's the moon, sort of like the moonlight shining on something and kind of glimmering. And there's multiple somethings moving in that direction.
Do I know any kind of creature that moves like this? It seems to be like, in my eyes, it's a pack. It has some kind of armor that's reflective. Do I know anything that moves this way?
They're far enough away that you could not see them.
Yeah.
However, you could surmise, or you could come to a conclusion that it's possibly those are Arathan moving.
Okay.
But
yeah, that was my assumption. I just wanted to make sure that was a logical assumption. Yeah, he kind of turns to Alua. They look like they're coming at us, or they're going to pass near us, Johnny.
You don't. So again, they're at least an hour out. Like, you guys are incredibly high in this tree, so you're only seeing the movement at this point and the occasional glint of something. You really can't get a sense of how close they're going to come to you. If you continue to pay attention, you start to you're really kind of focusing on that. If you were to keep a watch, then you'll get a better understanding of that. But I kind of need to know what the rest of you are doing in respect to, you're supposed to be resting in this tree.
So Toll looks to Alua and says, I think that's like a group of Arathan.
Sounds like the cops to me.
They seem to be.
They're finally here for me.
That's the sound of the police.
It's the sound of the firefighters.
Wop, wop, that's the sound of the Arathan. He looks and says...
Nice.
He says, I think that seems to be like a herd of Arathan, but they don't normally travel in packs that large to make a cloud like that. They do seem to be coming towards us, though.
I could break this down in 10 minutes. We've got time.
I mean, our
options...
options...
We could try to hide up here, but they can climb trees.
Yeah, our options are to climb higher and be quiet, or to make a run for the village.
I'm thinking village. Boats?
I would agree. I don't think hiding in a tree is a good option.
It's not.
Alpha? Ready to put your pants on and go on an adventure?
What? Are we going?
I think we're going.
He like peers out over the tree. Are you in pajamas?
I can.
She's not in her pajamas. She's still got her day clothes on.
I just want to make sure. This is why you adventure with pants on. You never know when you're gonna have to run.
I could try to make a diversion.
They're pretty far out right now, unless you can have a very delayed diversion.
I don't see why not.
Oh, well then, great.
All right, I'm gonna. You grab the dog's the podling buddy. You can go down. I'll start ripping this up. She starts pulling it down at a rather quick pace because she's done it 1,000 times.
Belfa's made her way down. She's packed up her bag, and as she's puts it on her back, she's got two little Fizzgigs are just kind of like curled up, hanging out on her and on her backpack. Their tails are like wrapped on her arms.
I love that. I'm gonna hate it. It's terrible. Get out of here.
Oh, loves it.
Toll hates it. I like it.
He secretly loves it, and I'm just gonna imagine that.
Oh god.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the four of you were going to break camp and move towards the village.
Yeah, we're gonna book it and move towards the village.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It doesn't seem like Tog wants to move. Everything you do, you can get him out of the hammock or whatever, but at some point he just kind of like grabs onto the tree and doesn't want to climb down. He's like, no, go.
We will not last long up here. They can climb.
Big spider. She makes her hand click, 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 click. We gotta go somewhere, buddy.
No, sisters, no. And holds on, and he just you see him shaking and holding onto the tree at the same time.
Oliva's gonna look at Nock. Can you make a bright light with any of your magical doohickey horn stuff?
I can.
Bright light? And she
Yes.
looks at the pod thing? Question mark. Good enough?
He shakes his head and just kind of like continues to hold it against it.
Toll ideas.
Yeah, I have an idea. Hey, Velfa, what's that? And he just points, like, in the distance, assuming that Velfa turns, and he's just gonna knock the pod, like, on the back of the head.
Oh, no!
I don't see anything out there.
Keep looking, Velfa. I think I...
What am I looking for?
Just, like, in the distance, there's a thing.
It's a flower.
It's a flower. What kind of flower?
It looks very dark purple. It's kind of hard to see from here.
Those only bloom in the moonlight. She like starts to wander off.
Nock, follow her. I'm gonna clean this up. She's gonna try to prop the podling on her back again, but make it look like he's not passed out.
Not go follow.
I was just like, she's like trying to see this flower.
Thank God he's breathing. And she gives Toll a look.
It wasn't even that hard.
Uh-huh.
It's like a little...
All right, so I'm gonna need a roll just because.
Okay.
It's a 1. I mean, it's this thing is shaking. It's easy. There's no way you're not gonna miss. I just need a roll.
Okay.
Just to make
Never
sure.
know. You never
To
know.
see if you kill it.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna use my hands. So I'm just gonna use the dagger because hands are a light weapon. So, so difficulty 1, light weapon, and I hit him with a nat 20.
He's got a concussion.
You just kill him. Just
Dead.
kill him outright.
No, and not in this particular case. With a natural 20, please describe this to us.
So I have the ability control the field, which is what I was intending to use, which is I deal 1 less point of damage. So I deal 1 point of damage to this guy instead of 2. And regardless of whether I hit him or not, he moves into a position that I want him to move in, which is out of the damn tree. However, I hit him, and so he's now unconscious, and he slides down and goes limp at the bottom of the tree. And the major effect is that he will sleep the whole way there and not remember a thing.
Okay.
To this village.
All right. Podling's recovered. Have you recovered your Veltha lately?
I mean, there's a knock chasing her down.
I followed.
Okay. All right, and so I'm assuming you head south?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna head towards the village.
All right. So you continue the way along under the cover of essentially, or under the moonlight of the three sisters. Do you light any type of, do you have any light source of any kind? Do you do any type of, is there anything that you're taking, any precautions you're taking? Or are you just casually strolling down the road? Talk to me a little bit about how you're moving, because now you're moving in darkness and you also know that there's a potential threat in the area.
I have a candle, but
Also, yeah.
I will use my hedge magic and be playing music, and it makes a trail of those little glowing Thra lights, just kind of following and illuminating our path, just in this wavy trail of light.
You're weaving a you're weaving a trail of light along with you?
No, you know how I don't know if they're supposed to be little fireflies or if it's what, but you know how in the TV show or in the movie, a lot of times when stuff's going on, you have all those little particles of light that come out of the plants and animals and stuff.
Right.
I'm imagining just a trail of those kind of floating and dancing and guiding us along.
Okay.
Playing in time to his music type thing.
All right, that works, and it's not anything you need to roll for. So as you're kind of moving through and doing this, any other precautions besides the light?
I think Toll has his crossbow out with an arrow ready or a bolt ready. That's it, though.
Okay. It takes you about another hour to get to the Podling village. I have one other question for you before we kind of narrate ourselves into this. As you're kind of making your way along on this pathway, do the four of you, any of you, attempt to kind of assess the situation again, kind of taking in the relative position of these things that are moving in that general direction?
I think at some point I might climb up a tree again. I can move at a decent pace, so I think I'd take a little jaunt ahead and jump up a tree again.
Do me a favor, then roll me another assess danger.
Difficulty?
Because you kind of know what you're looking for, we'll call it difficulty 2, and the moon is continuing to, the moons are continuing to climb into the sky. All right.
Not a 20, but good enough.
Good enough. Well, I'm really happy for not the 20, but so you climb up to this second tree as the rest of the group slowly begins to kind of pass towards you, and you look out, and as you're kind of assessing the situation, you realize that the moving shapes that are shimmering are now shimmering more, and there's a purple tint to them. They're also relatively close, and they look like they're heading in the same specific direction that you are heading in. And they're about 30 minutes from your position, based on the way that they're moving, based on the way that they were moving before, and based on the way they're moving now. Their position looks to be about, 30 minutes out.
How far are we from the village?
You don't quite know. You assume that you're close, but you don't quite know. Tog was never very specific about the location of the village.
And he's out
I wonder why that's
strapped to my backpack. Olivia's gonna come down and kind of pull Tall aside and go, they're headed to where we're heading. I feel like while it's dangerous, we need to go in case they're attacking these podlings. We can't let them hurt them.
Yeah, I agree. And perhaps that'll provide insight as to what attacked the Gelfling village.
Yeah. What about these two? She nods behind her.
Alpha's like grumbling to herself and like flipping through the pages of a book trying to find this flower that she was meant to be looking for prior.
Not just like...
Should I say 4? Ruth and Neb.
Nock just takes his mouth off the horn and is like, I am guiding us with light. I am helping.
Yes, you are.
What's the problem?
And
she finally looks up.
Nothing. They can lead the escape.
Okay.
Right? That makes the most sense.
All right, everybody. Here's the deal. Those spiders, the Rathan we saw, are headed to where we're headed. I don't want these podling to get hurt. She kind of tries to hide the podling passed out on her shoulder. So, Velfa, Nock, we're going to need you to wake everybody up and get them to safety. Anybody that can fight can come fight, but this is going to be dangerous, but I don't feel right not helping these podling.
Okay. Do you think you could make like some really horrible sound knock on your horn to... I mean, you're an amazing musician, but it might wait till it's up. Just give it a good squawk.
I can try, but I have almost used up my magic for today. I am rather tired, and we did not get a chance to sleep.
All right. What about those alarms on your shoulder, Velfa? You think you could get Ruth and Neb to not?
Oh, yeah, probably. And so
she tosses Tola a look. They're proving to be slightly useful.
Do you want us to wait till we get into the town?
Close. We might have to just kind of sound the alarm and hit.
Just let me know when you want the noise. However, I will have to stop the light.
Why don't you stop the light now? Give yourself a little bit of a mental rest anyway.
Yeah, and let's wait and let's see if maybe, Ruth and Neb could do it. We might
knock the candle out of her bag, have a nice little thing that he could hold and it won't burn. So.
I think I might have like something, because I thought I had like adventuring type stuff.
I've got a candle.
Yeah, I have 4 inexpensive items of my choice, so I'll knock that down to 3, and you can keep your candle. I'll have like a torch.
Okay.
That'll work.
Even better.
All right, Velfa's kind of like jostling and like scritching the fizz gigs and kind of like getting them a little more awake and kind of trying to coax them out of their like ball.
It's really hard to kind of get them to kind of, not tuck their heads out from, behind. And what you get a sense of is as they're waking up a little bit, or kind of like not tucking themselves in, they appear to occasionally glance over at Alua and then just kind of like tuck themselves back in, and you can just hear them like not like mewing, but they're almost like it's a low sound that's barely audible, as if they're whining or scared.
Guys, I don't know if this is gonna work. They seem a little upset. I don't know why they're. I mean, I've never really seen a fizz gig act like this before, unless they were, really afraid of something.
Are they really afraid of something?
I don't know. I mean, maybe they sense the Ratham. And so Velfa's gonna kind of like, she has a bit of like the jerky that she was given earlier, and is kind of like, you want it? You want a treat? Trying to like do anything she can to coax them out while they kind of figure out what we're gonna do.
Ruth doesn't take at it, but Neb kind of like reaches at it and goes to grab, and then gets a taste of it, and just like then you see Neb kind of like sniff the air for just a second, and then kind of hide back and doesn't take the jerky.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work, guys. Oh boy. Anybody have a pan? I've got a stick. I could run through the town and make a lot of noise at that.
I can make mundane loud noises with my horn, I suppose.
Better than nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just guess any kind of loud noises.
Now?
I think in the town.
Okay.
We should probably go then. It's starting, they're getting closer.
Yeah. Let's keep walking.
Agreed. And so we continue.
All right. As you're making your way towards the village, one of the things that you begin to recognize is that the landscape is starting to change. The trees that you've been seeing have been starting to dot the plains a little bit more, and you notice that the land is starting to get a little bit more sort of lush in respect to the types of foliage that's around. It's not just the flowing plains of green. It's more interesting and diverse types of like creatures and fauna, flora, plants and stuff. You get a sense that you're moving towards, for those of you who have traveled the world, you're moving towards the swamp of Sog. There's definitely an increase in moisture in the air too, but it's not overwhelming yet. And so you start to wander through, as in the pathway, it starts to wander through groves of smaller groves of like trees. And at a certain point, you kind of glance over and you see what looks like a smaller path. The feet and the body size of a podling. You don't hear any noise though, and that is unusual.
I've only been to a handful of podling villages, but usually they're either working or having a party.
Yeah.
I don't hear a party.
It's kind of just like the last one we were in.
It is.
Let's hope not, because no one was in that last one.
I don't see anyone.
Well, maybe they're all asleep, and we should do what we talked about and wake them up, and we'll save them all, and we'll get out of here.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Knock raises his horn and begins to play like the like bugle wake up call military song. Like
before he does that, can I do an assessing danger check before he murders us all?
He's like,
everything is dangerous.
Wait, are you doing that before he assesses the or before?
Before he starts blowing the horn? Yeah.
All right. Tell me what you're doing before. Tell me what you're doing and how you're trying to assess danger before
while
we
they're
actually...
talking, because I didn't have a Lua say anything there. I'd be trying to.
Right, but what does that mean? Are you like sort of scoping or scouting out the area, or are you like climbing into the tree?
Checking for any marks on the ground, any weird noises, flashes of light.
All right. Roll me a difficulty 3. Sorry, hold on, I was on the wrong.
It's a 19, minor.
My God. Stop with these rolls. I swear to God. Stop with these rolls.
And the minor effect, I would just want to be able to like grab Nox's horn if I decide or perceive that it's a bad idea. I won't do anything crazy because I know this is fucking shit up already.
All right. This is what you get. As they're talking, and Nock is like rummaging around for his horn to kind of bring it out and kind of making sure that it's clean. You assess around. You don't see very many tracks sort of on the ground that you would expect. You would expect something like seeing a bunch of podlings just kind of running around, or like they would leave a bunch of like
daily
tracks,
yeah.
Right. So you do see a couple of tracks kind of leading into the pathway that you see, and as you're listening and kind of assessing the situation, you realize that it's not just that the fact the podlings are quiet. There's nothing else sort of singing or making clicking noises or doing any of those things that you would expect from the sort of the normal environment around you. Everything is still incredibly quiet.
Yeah, she's gonna grab the horn and say, there's something wrong there. I don't think we should wake them up.
Okay. What should we do?
She'll point out the lack of day-to-day marks on the ground and be like, this podling that is definitely just sleeping might have had a point.
How far are we from the village?
You assume that you're very close now because you see the pathway too, and you can see in the distance what look like podling dwellings.
Okay.
Through into this grove of trees.
He reaches into his like bag and pulls out like what amounts for like probably like half a candle, and he kind of looks at everyone and says, I'm gonna go ahead, just quietly. The rest of you stay here in case something happens. And he goes to strike it and then realizes that that's not a good idea and sort of puts it at the ready. And I'm going to attempt to quietly make my way up this path and into this village just to see what's going on here.
Can I help him? Possibly.
How would you go about helping him?
I want to pull some bardic shit here and play a little, basically coax the music of Thra into playing and like covering Toll's footstep, like a song of silence.
Oh,
interesting. Okay.
So like what I'm imagining that like physically looks like is just like it would probably seem like very ephemeral, like and almost like not noticeable, whereas like it would be like when Toll happens to set his foot down is when like a night bird happens to chirp, when he like brushes past a tree is like when some cricket off in the distance decides to start making noise, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
Give me a difficulty 3 check here.
All right.
And then we're going to talk about, depending upon the success, what actually is the result here.
Here we go.
Success. Hell yeah.
All right. Toll. Okay. If there had been a minor or major effect, this would have been a little bit more significant. But consider an asset for any roles that involve
stealth.
at this particular point, or hiding or whatever.
Dope. Okay. So then I will give you some kind of a stealth roll. What would you like?
Well, so you're moving into the village. You're moving towards the village, right?
Yeah.
Do you want a stealth? Do you want to just blanket stealth kind of a situation, or do you want to react in some particular way or assess the situation before you continue to move stealthy?
No, I think I'm just gonna be stealthy moving in and assume that there's something wrong in the village. Like that's what I'm thinking. I'm taking what Alua said to heart and saying there's something wrong in here and I need to go investigate further. And so I'm going to quietly approach the village, knowing that it's already dangerous in there.
All right, difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3 with a asset, and I'm trained in stalking. Shit on me. I'm spending an XP. That's not gonna happen.
Are you sure?
I'm 100.
Did you use your asset at least?
I did. I'm trained on an asset in there. Yeah.
Roll again.
Yeah. I'm spending an XP. There's no goddamn way am I giving you a GM intrusion on that. Cool. Let's try that again. You know what? Difficulty 3 and effort. No effort. That's asset for the song. Okay. There we go. 7 beats. Jesus.
It's enough passing.
I passed. Okay. I only need to roll a 3. Hot damn. My rolls are trash. Cherry is taking all of the good rolls.
Not only does Cherry take up all of the luck and good rolls from this session, but she takes it from like my entire tabletop RPG. All the luck gets used up in this on Wednesday nights, and then.
Sorry.
It's really good.
Sounds accurate. Sounds accurate.
Yeah. So
send everybody some sage.
So I kind of like go down, and that music kind of plays, you know, as a melody in the background. Toll just creeps down, and he just kind of like takes a few steps in, and kind of like cascades, like the greens kind of play with the rest of the grass and the plains, and he sort of moves into this village quietly. And I'm just walking slowly and low into this village to see what's going on here.
All right. The pathway is it snakes back and forth, and like crisscrosses a couple of other little paths as you see, and you see that there's like a little pond off in one direction down one of these paths. This path takes you probably a good 50 or 60 feet until you finally get into what you believe is the village proper. The village is kind of butted up against these large sort of trees, and there are, you know, rudimentary sort of dwellings that podlings have built around them.
Mm-hmm.
There are no deathly silent, thus preventing, or thus allow, you know, it's the benefit that Nox spell has, or like magic has given you.
Mm-hmm.
Has really kind of covered you in an otherwise sort of silent situation. So there's an occasional breeze and the rustling of a leaf, and that covers your step. And so it feels like there is a rhythm that's going on as you make your way through. And as you step on a fallen branch or a fallen, like, you know, stick from a tree, there's a wind that kind of rushes through the trees at the same time, kind of making much larger noise, covering that step that you just had. And as you step into this sort of village proper and step from essentially the path of where the trees were, you're able to look around and kind of assess the situation, but you see like podling footprints all over there, but there's none. There's no podlings visible. There's no podlings around. What do you do?
The dwellings are smaller than like a Gelfling dwelling, right? They're like not half size, but
right. Podlings are on average about 2 feet tall or less.
Yeah.
So
Gelflings
are somewhere between 3 to 4.
Yeah. So I'm gonna like look in the windows of these places, right? Like obviously there's no Gelfling around, which kind of makes sense for the time of the day it is, but also there should be, you know, at least one drunk stumbling podling around somewhere. So he's gonna look into these windows and kind of like peer through, because they're just like cutouts, I think, in the sides of their little pods.
Right.
And yeah, he's gonna try to peek around and see if he can find any sleeping podlings. Right. Best case scenario, they're all asleep.
You peer into one, and you kind of like sticking your head in a little bit and kind of looking around. You don't see any podlings in what you assume is a bed, or asleep on the floor, or anywhere near sort of like anything that would vaguely resemble a bed.
Okay.
You see that there is a hearth, you know, on the opposite side from the window. It looks cold, or sorry, it looks like it's not lit, but it looks like it's been recently put out and is smoking a little bit.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, we're on limited time here. There's no podlings here, quote unquote. I'm sure they're structurally sound. I want to scramble up on top of one of these little pods, and I want an overview of the town. I'm specifically looking for a place that can withstand an Aratham stampede, let's call it. And I can give you an assessing danger kind of roll for that if you'd like.
I think that's definitely what's required here.
Okay, what's the difficulty for this one?
4.
Difficulty 4. Okay. How dumb am I right now? We haven't slept yet, so very dumb. Cool. All right. Well. Yeah, I'll do that. Difficulty 4. 0 effort. No assets. I fail. Okay. So yeah, I climb up on top of this building and I kind of look around and, unless anything crazy happens, I just don't see anything. I just see a sea of pod houses that would not withstand. Like, I'm pretty sure a Gelfling could break down a podling wall. They're not. I think they're made out of dirt and earth.
As you're scrambling sort of on top of this thing, and you're kind of like assessing and looking around, you feel very unsafe. Like the thicket that is the roof is really just poorly built, and your foot kind of like collapses through part of the roof. You have to pick yourself up and kind of get to the top, and you are just precariously sort of perched up there. And as you're kind of looking around, you can see that this is a reasonably sized podling village. There's probably 20 small dwellings in this grove of trees. All of them do not appear to be, there's nothing lit, nothing at all.
Yeah. Okay. I will carefully slide down and make my way back to the group to get back to them and explain to them what I basically saw. I make my way back to the lilting noises of Nox playing, and I get back to the group and I kind of stand up and I say, the podling was right. Everyone here is... I don't think they're all gone. They're hiding somewhere that I can't find. A few of the stone hearts, they look like they had been recently used. But there should be dozens of podlings here, and there's not any. I can't find any place that looks like it would strongly survive against an Aratham horde. They all look like podling houses that are... I put my foot through one of them accidentally. I was trying to get on the roof. Regardless.
I can fix it later if we don't die.
I don't know where to go.
She's gonna look at Nock.
I would like to do a thing.
Can I suggest a thing first?
Okay, go for it.
She's gonna pull the podling off. Alua, look! Or not Alua, Velfa, look!
Velfa, what's that flower over there?
Velfa, what's that? Can we wake him up? And like at this point, Velfa probably just sees that he's unconscious. But like, it's the only thing she can think.
It's like a toddler. Like you just pick him up in the arms, just slow him down.
I'll try to wake him up.
That's the only thing I can think of. But if you have a different thing you'd like to try as well.
How are you going to try to wake this thing up?
Maybe they can try to wake this thing up, and while they do that, what I'm gonna try to do is I want to see if I can tell if there are any like tunnels or anything below us. And the way I'm gonna do that is I think Nock just like leans down towards the ground and places his horn like directly against the ground and begins to like play like just against the ground, and he's trying to use the sound vibrations to essentially like echolocate throughout the ground and see if there are tunnels.
Nock is blowing the ground. Velfa, do you know how? He's out cold.
So Velfa is very curious why he is the way he is, but she's also like not going to assume that her wonderful companions have knocked this delightful podling out, and she's just going to innocently kind of be watching over and Man, he's really out, isn't he? I guess he was pretty tired.
Yeah.
Yep.
Heavy sleeper. I hear some podlings like they eat a leaf and it knocks him out. Do you know what would wake him up? She is just bullshitting.
I mean, I there's smelling salts work a lot, but I don't really have anything like that in my bag. Maybe if anybody had any alcohol, I like to drink.
She looks at Toll.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I don't have any. I'm just looking at you because I doubt Velva has some.
I wouldn't. You see the size of that bag? Could be anything in there.
Oh, I have some water.
We'll try water.
Splash on his face, yeah.
She has a little canteen strapped onto her gigantic backpack. She unhooks it and walks over and puts a little in her hand and kind of flicks it in his face, and she doesn't really seem to be doing anything. Like the little sprinkles, She kind of looks around to see if they're really looking at her, and she just kind of face just dumps it on top of him. It can a roll or something to see if it.
We're not letting Toll put things.
You don't even need to roll a thing because he just what? And he wakes up and he gets really loud quick. Where?
Home?
No. Go. And he jumps up and starts to run. North.
Back to where we came?
Yes.
Oh, he's for sure gonna get killed by those things.
Can I tell if there's tunnels?
Roll me something, buddy.
I like
I'm guessing
how that's
intellect?
your science. Is there a tunnel under here?
Is it intellect?
I would assume.
Do not judge the power of my music.
Sure. I think it's the Song of Thra kind of stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and roll your intellect. It's going to be... I'll give you difficulty 2.
No.
You have XP?
All right.
Sure, why not? I'll spend an XP to reroll it. Why the heck not?
Wow. That's the same number.
Yep.
That's the same exact number.
Yep.
That is bad
if Toll
luck.
doesn't take off after the podling, I'm going to.
That's really bad.
That too? I mean, he rolled a 4.
It's still really bad. Twice in a row. So because of that, describe to me what this song you're playing. That give us the emotional element that goes with this particular melody.
This one is less music, and it's more just him trying to use vibrations and sound waves to hear. So it's probably just muffled horn noises.
Well, so I mean, is it you're using low frequency beat frequencies as they kind of resonate?
To just try to feel the how they resonate to get an idea if there's carving out tunnels below the earth.
Like a bat.
Yeah.
Sure, but
horny bat.
But so everything that your magic is based on, as I understand it, is based on the idea of the song and the rhythm and the melody of Thra, the song of Thra itself, essentially, and how nature's rhythms kind of work together. So even in doing something as simple as creating, a very basic sound and having it kind of resonate, it would resonate back to you when you feel the magic of it. You hear the song of Thra as it just sort of this rhythm, this counter beat kind of a thing.
It's like it's
like that video that has lava rolling and then you click it and it's the lava sound from Mario.
I have not seen that. All right. So as you're doing this, what you're getting back is incredibly shifting of your emotional state, because you're not getting the normal sort of like rhythm that you would expect to come back, that kind of washes over you as sort of that counter beat. You're getting a double beat, and then you're getting a triple beat, and then you're getting a double beat, and then something comes back as a single. And it's just like this, it's almost as if like the heartbeat of the land is like struggling. It's like racing and then slowing down and racing. And you don't get a vision of anything being under you. What you do, however, get a vision of, as it kind of overwhelms you, is the rhythm of things on the land. And faintly, not too far away, but very faintly, you hear the rhythm of 6 different things moving in unison. But you hear multiple 6 different beats kind of moving in different ways. And it leaves you sort of unsettled, because that's it. At first it's soft, and then it grows louder and louder. And just before you decide to like step back and kind of release from it, it becomes this cacophony of noise. And there is definitely another element of dissonance to that sound. And it's left ringing in your ears for just a second.
So they're coming in groups of 6. That's what I know now. Or at least it seems like that. I think Nock will just look up and will say, I was trying to see if there were tunnels underground that the podlings could be hiding in. I don't know about that, but I did sense them coming. I think they've split into groups.
You think the podlings are split into groups?
I believe it is the Arathma.
Oh, that's far worse.
Yes.
A lot of groups?
At least a few.
I don't think we can fight this.
We can't.
I think we should run.
The problem is where?
Follow the podling. We should probably go after them, especially since Alua ran off too.
The podling ran in the direction of the Aratham.
I thought he ran.
He ran north, which is where we just came from. That's why you were like, "Is Toll going after him?" I was like, "Fuck no." He's running.
I thought the Aratham were like coming in this way, and he went this way.
Johnny.
So he ran north. And from what you know about where these things that are moving towards you, they're coming from the northeast.
Yes.
Okay. Can I roll to see if I can catch up with him and at least change his direction or ask him where he's going?
You're welcome to. Sure.
I guess can I just roll my speed, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Difficulty?
Podlings are fast, but he's also scared. It's also night. He's a little frightened. I'm going to say it's probably difficulty 2.
Jesus Christ.
Buddy, bugs that way. This way? Or are you going somewhere?
Yes, no, village, no, hide. Village, hide.
Village hide?
No, that way. Go that way.
I think we should follow.
I don't have a better suggestion.
All right. Show us where to go, buddy. She's gonna give him her.
Fucking kitty.
Let's go. Come on.
All right. So I'm assuming that the four of you are going to follow. None of you stay behind. None of you kind of like try to pay attention to what's actually going to happen here. You just...
Yeah, at this point, it sounds like there's like 20 freaking Aratham coming.
All right. So you scramble with the podling. You follow him. You follow Tog as he runs through what looks like a field that's just beyond the groves towards another grove of trees. And he's zigzagging, through the tall grass around these between these trees, and makes a beeline directly in towards the trees themselves. And as he does, he stops at first, kind of looks up, looks behind you, and clicks 4 times, like, and a rope immediately drops from the trees, and he scrambles up it, and then the rope immediately gets pulled up as the 4 of you enter the grove as well.
Oh, I thought he just left us. I was like, fucking hey, Tog, you little shit.
Oh,
he did just leave you.
Fucking rope if
he did leave us.
Yeah.
He did leave you. But as you kind of you step into the grove and you watch him kind of shoot up, you see ropes come down, 4 other ropes.
Okay.
Come down from other trees.
That's better. Got to chop this tree
4
down.
separate trees sort of around.
About to see Toll get real petty. Chop the damn tree down.
I will grab a rope.
Yeah, Vel's gonna grab her up as well, start climbing up one of the trees.
Yeah, I also grabbed one.
I'm going to be an asshole and use my own rope, but go up a tree.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm not going to make you roll because it's a relatively easy sort of climb or whatever. And
they don't haul us up? How rude.
You mean I have the climbing skill? I can roll.
You are heavier than a...
Wow, rude.
It's
why I use my own rope.
So as the 4 of you are kind of pulled up, you realize that there is like makeshift, like
it's its connection.
My internet sucks today. I'm really sorry, guys.
You're good.
So as you good, yeah, I know. So my internet sucks. Anyways, so there's like as you get up into the trees, you realize that there are no like lights, torches, or anything else that have been like kind of lit. However, the trees are filled with sort of like these really shoddily built rudimentary platforms that the podlings have kind of put up there. And you see that there are podlings sort of sleeping on some of these things, and they're all incredibly silent. All of them are trying to not make as much sound as possible. And when you slip and you crack a branch on one of the larger branches of a tree, one of you does, immediately the podling just turns around and like looks at you and that was helping you up into the actual platform itself. And as the 4 of you kind of get up and are able to get assembled, you realize that there's probably a good 40 podling situated inside of these on various trees across various little platforms that are kind of put together. And they have a very basic sort of rope system that allows them to kind of crawl between as they hang across. And you see Tog kind of looking at all of you, kind of waving and saying, kind of motioning, but always doing this, always making sure that you're silent.
Knock will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
At the same time, Alua in her brain is thinking about how she can make this better for them if they survive.
Right.
She's going to fix this before they leave.
And we need might rolls from all of you.
Might.
Is this for like climbing, or what is this for?
More of a speed roll because it's for nimbleness. Because you need to climb across these ropes.
Okay, I'm good at climbing.
What is the difficulty?
Jumping and balancing. So I'm gonna roll that one.
Then that would definitely work.
I'll do climbing as well.
What is the difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be relatively easy, but I just need a roll. It's going to be 2.
I will spend an effort.
Belf is like a spider monkey.
That would be your luck too.
She's close to podling size. It's fine.
Sam's like,
I
I'm
imagine
fine.
Belfa is tinier than the rest of us. I'm assuming.
Well, it's a good. I mean, yeah, it's a good thing I spent it because I didn't do too great. I rolled a 10. It's not bad. It's not great.
Not too bad.
Warren is clanking as he moves.
All right. So the four of you are able to kind of skitter across these various ropes, not waking any podlings, and kind of moving your way towards. And as Tog is kind of waving you, he begins to kind of climb up the branches of this one tree that's on the edge of this grove. And as he's kind of climbing up, he steps onto what looks like a platform, a much larger platform than any of the other platforms. And interestingly enough, this particular platform is the best one built out of all of them. It looks like it can hold all of your weight.
I think Toll is confused at first, and he like looks around, not really noticing that the platform is big enough, and he's waiting to be shown something. And he kind of like does one of those like.
And as the podling Tog just kind of waves you up, and he goes like this, but he doesn't have 4 fingers. He goes, and waves you up.
I think he wants us to go find him. You're very good at talking silently.
There's room.
Oh. That makes sense.
Finally got to do my captain, obviously.
And he moves over there.
The rest of you do as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Belfa's like scoots in and like kind of like squats down next to Toll.
Okay. So you all get kind of situated and you realize that the stability of this particular platform is better than any of the others. And you look at it and you realize that it has been well reinforced and made sure that the support and everything. And then Tog kind of leans again, he does this, and he moves forward to the edge. And if you poke, you kind of move with him towards the edge of this thing, because it's much larger. It's probably about 10 foot. See out through the edge of the tree. He goes like this, and so as you're looking in that particular direction, and there goes my internet again.
You're back. You're fine.
As you're looking, as you're looking in that particular direction, you start to see movement in the grass in the area, coming from what would have been expected the north, sort of the northeast. And it's starting to move forward, and you're seeing glints of purple in the moonlight, but you're also beginning to hear clicking.
Can I look out and see like what this is?
You can, but see, how do I put this? I'm going to need some sort of a roll from you to kind of like assess what you're actually seeing here as the
Yeah. I have assessing danger. Would that work? Or identifying and assessing danger, or trained in following and identifying tracks, maybe one of those two.
No, this is assessing danger.
Okay.
This is a combination of things going on for you. So,
okay. What is the difficulty?
The difficulty is going to be 3, because these things are keeping to the grass as they are angling towards one side of the grove, because the grove is actually pathway that you were following from the north flows through it, and these things appear to be kind of trying to stay hidden in the grass, but it's clear that based on their size they can't remain completely hidden.
Okay, cool. That means they're like big. They're bigger than a Ratham. I rolled an 11, so that's a success.
All right. As you're looking at this and you're kind of assessing, you see one kind of like move something up, kind of raise its arm and kind of like lower it again. And for a second, you thought what you saw was a claw, but not like a normal sort of like talon or something. This was like almost like a sea creature's claw, as its arm kind of raises above and kind of comes down. And you see that they're moving, their movement kind of like shifts back and forth on their legs. And this is nothing like the way the Aratham move.
Yeah, so the way we were positioned on here, Velfa kind of scooted up next to Toll. And so I think, like, I'm, like, peering through, like, canopy here, and I just, like, take one hand and I just sort of, like, kind of quietly swat at Velfa to, like, get her to come up here. And then, like, I lean over if she moves. And I just...
comes up.
Yeah, I just start describing this to you, assuming that you're going to draw it in your journal. Because that's what you do with everything else, it seems. So he just grabs you, and he just starts explaining all the things that he's seeing. That it moves funny, like it sort of leans on its back legs. It has, like, claws, like, I assume we have crustaceans in Thra, like a crab. And he just begins to explain, you know, tiny head, you know, purple body kind of thing to you in the best way he can, right?
So and Velfa's like, she's quietly kind of like taking in and like, and she's trying to think if she's ever come across anything that sounds like this at all. And I think she's kind of coming up with like just in confusion, but like she's trying to like process what she's hearing.
Give me a roll of some kind. Give me a knowledge roll of some kind, like an intellect roll.
Okay. What difficulty?
This is going to be difficulty 4.
She has no idea.
You have XP as well. If you want to spend it to reroll, just a reminder.
All right, we'll do one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jeez. What a way for the rolls to turn on the rerolls. That's interesting. All right. So you have absolutely no clue. The things that he's describing sound like various types of creatures, but none of them who have that sort of characteristics combined.
Yeah. And she's, you know, very strong. Are you sure what you're looking at? I've never, in any of the books I've ever read, come across something like this before, Toll.
I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know what this is.
She just kind of looks up at him and is like, just very like scared and like kind of confused.
Can I tell if these claw crab blade hands look like they would be big enough to cause the damage from the previous village? Because they were bigger than Aratham claws or Aratham blade arms.
I could roll identifying if it's something I would recognize.
I think I did that one. Oh, but yeah, if you've seen it too, that's true.
What difficulty should I throw on that?
Difficulty 4. This is the same difficulty that Velfa had to burn up against. So,
just barely.
Wow. Jeez. Okay.
Look, I would know my crustaceans, kind of.
Seriously. Okay. You kind of stick your head out as well, kind of looking in the distance to see, and you see another one's claws kind of come up just like the way that Toll describes, you know, kind of grabbing your attention, and you look back to Toll, exchange a glance, and acknowledge that's about the right size.
Yeah, I think Toll just kind of says it. If he gets the second opinion on it, he just says, "This is what attacked the village."
A little none.
These are not Aratham.
What are they?
Something new. Something bigger.
Do you think we're safe here?
You have a choice.
I don't think they can climb. They're massive. They don't seem... The way they're moving is quick, but it doesn't seem like it's actually dexterous. They're bulky. I think we're as fine as we can be, unless they can chop down the tree.
as you're saying that, you hear something like a bigger sort of like scrambling kind of a noise, and you look back around, and you can sort of make sort of the vague outline of this thing as it kind of like scurries off into the path and tries to reset itself and kind of go back in, but it looks like it slipped on something. And as it kind of comes out, you see an incredibly large sort of body mass that is probably 1.5 times as high as as a gelfling, and it has 6 really large, thick legs that look like Ratham legs. But as it's kind of righting itself, it kind of scurries off, sideways, and you can see that it's got 2 gigantic sort of pincer claw kind of things as it scurries in. And it never looks in your direction, but like kind of just scurries back in.
He's going to continue describing that to Velfa as well. That it looks like a Ratham legs with a body and like arms, like a centaur of spiders, like a spitar.
And so as you're beginning to do that description, you kind of look back again. You're looking back and you're looking back again. You kind of like you're kind of leaning out, and I'm going to use a GM intrusion here, and you're going to start to slip and fall. Now you can take the XP, or
Velfa's
you
also,
can
as he's slipping, Velfa's gonna try and reach out and grab something on him, because she's right there. She's gonna try to so.
I like drama. I'll take the XP and I'll give one to Velfa.
All right, Velfa. So he's starting to slip. You realize he's like kind of talking before. He kind of leans too far. He's starting to slip. You reach out and grab for him. Give me I don't know. What do you think? Is this a might roll or a speed roll here?
I think they might, to try to not fall out with me.
All right. Give me a might roll at difficulty 3, because he's right there next to you, except that he's kind of weighed down with like weapons and stuff.
Okay, so explain to me again. So I have the edge.
So if
I have that, would that help?
Yeah. So you could spend effort to make this roll easier. So to spend effort, reduce your might pool by 3 minus your edge. So for you, it'd be 2. So reduce your might pool by 2, and then when you roll, click on the little might button, and then it will say effort to roll. Make that 1. So its difficulty is what, 3? Did you say, Johnny? So difficulty 3, effort 1, in the little roll window when it pops up.
Yep.
Perfect.
So I think as she goes to craps, she in her backpack craziness grabs something near maybe there's a branch, and she as he's falling, I think she goes to grab him, and maybe her arm hooks onto a branch to kind of try and keep them, but she's struggling, but she's holding, and she's all
right. So your arm kind of hooks. You reach out, you grab him. You get pulled, but you're able to kind of hold on and have him. But the weight of him, as you're trying to kind of struggle and pull him back in, you're finally able to do it. But as you do that, you're going to get another GM intrusion.
Okay. And also know she has endurance, which means things like this, if it takes someone else can do something, she can hold it double the length, in her, that's what it says anyway. So she also has a little extra oomph.
Right. So with that move, you're able to, you're bringing him in, but as your arm is hooked on a branch, turns out you actually hooked onto a smaller sort of branch coming off of a larger one. And as you're doing that, the effort of pulling him back up causes it to snap, making a loud sort of cracking sound.
Oh no.
Take the 1 XP. You have 1 XP to give, and then I'm going to narrate what happens next.
I'm going to give the XP to Alua.
Yeah, I'm probably going to need it.
All right. So both of you take an XP. As that snap happens, Toll, you look back around and you see that the column of things have stopped moving, and one of them kind of shifts around and comes out onto the pathway and looks into the direction of the grove of trees. And for the first time, you see this thing's face. And it is this sort of angular, weird, sort of shaped thing. and it's got like what looks like a mouth, but you're not really sure. And it just sort of settles, and its large body is like shrouded in this large sort of shell that you saw from the backside of it. Huge carapace, and it's got its pincers out. It's kind of doing this while it's looking in your direction, and as you gaze and look into its eyes, you realize that its eyes are glowing purple, and that's where we're going to end it.
Son of a bitch.
Good.
That's a good ending. That's a good. Fucking Avelfa saving Toll's life every day here.
I don't. That's true. That is true. I don't like
some
this.
sage.
I don't like
in your
this,
life.
But what I do want to see, and I'm going to enjoy, is when I tell Johnny to look at the screen, please. If you could look at the Twitch chat, would be.
I saw that.
Would be great if you could just have a live view of this. What's happening here?
This crab boy.
You're muted. Well, everyone.
I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you so much. God damn you.
This has
God
been
damn you.
This
God
has
damn
been
you.
another episode of Age of Darkness, or Age of Giffing Johnny. That being said, let's go around, do our introductions, get the hell out of here, and hopefully next week we don't die to Gartham. That'd be cool if we didn't do that. We'll start with Johnny the Gartham. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Oh my God, I am Johnny. I am the Video Store Cowboy. You can find me everywhere as the Video Store Cowboy, except on Twitter where it's Vid Store Cowboy, blah, 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 blah. Besides here, you can occasionally see me on Arvin Elrond's channel playing Esper Genesis, which is this 5e conversion of space opera, kind of shenanigan-y stuff. And you can see me play a drunk. It's coming very soon, also, since we just recorded the first solo sessions. Mike was alluding to them earlier in the stream. We recorded the first sessions for Dark Fortunes podcast, which should be out next month sometime. And man, I gotta tell you, they set the bar for
His internet's
best.
dying on the
That's
wall.
I gotta tell you.
Dead.
Find out
Yeah.
next time.
Apparently, we set the bar high for everyone else to do their show. Myself and our other player, V, the Crafting Muse, recorded ours. I think I got what he said. I think that was about it.
Did you?
I don't know.
Do you know how excited Loki is to actually play tomorrow?
Yeah, he won't. He literally won't stop. He won't shut up about it.
He won't stop bugging me for the raw recording. Like, he knows I have the raw recording. He won't stop bugging me about it. He's like, "Come on, man! I just want to hear it." He's like a guy who's like really he's high. He needs his fix. It's really weird.
He was asking. So
Just needs a little hit of that raw.
So we recorded it like a podcast where I record my audio, you record your audio, and then we splice it all together at the end. He's like, "So when can I listen to it?" I'm like, "Well, you can't get to those edited, man." He's like, "Yeah, but the raw files are on the drive, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's solo podcast. So like I recorded, and then Johnny records. So you can't hear them at the same time." That's not how it works. He's like, "This is ridiculous." That being said, let's get everyone out of here. Let's go over to Sherry. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
Cherry Babam on Twitch. I'll be doing a birthday stream Friday, even though my birthday's tomorrow.
Happy birthday!
Moving. So streams are a little bit on hold, but come by for some adventures and some tarot. And Cherry Babam 7 on Twitter as well.
Hell yeah.
Instagram.
Awesome.
I'm gonna leave while you guys keep talking.
Go for it. Let's jump over to Kitty. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
Hi, I'm Awkward Kitty Inc. I'm a freelance artist, but I also stream on Twitch and I do a lot of roleplay. And if we're talking roleplay, right now I do roleplay in a game called Atlas, and it's a sandbox survival game in which I play a Ukraine witch that runs a mercenary company, and it's kind of awesome and a lot of really good times.
Okay. Those are a lot of words I didn't expect to be put together in one thing. I'm down for that.
Are you Eastern European? Are you saying you're the what is it? The Baba Yaga?
The Baba Yaga of
Kind of. She's a blood witch. It's a really good time. We ran a carnival, and we were like this carnival of flesh type thing, and then we went and turned into like pirates, because her whole goal is she wants information and gold, and if she's not getting that with what she's doing, she's going to push her crew to something else.
Have you been receiving coaching from Mike?
That describes one of my characters in an RPG for like a long ass time.
Seriously?
And the character you played played Monday. So
and my podcast character. That's true. Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
Information and gold are those are my goals for those two characters.
Sounds awesome, Kitty.
I'm super down.
Excellent.
And last but not least, this time, Sam, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
I'm Sam, twitch.tv/WizandFool, Twitter @TheWizandFool. This is the only place you can find me right now. So come back next week, and I'll be here.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Great session. If you guys are tuning in now or you missed some of it, it'll be on YouTube in a couple days. If you guys want to support this channel, please go check out our Patreon. That's the best way to do so. Or sub here on Twitch. And if you want to talk about this and blab about it with the cast and crew, please go check us out on our Discord server. And that's it. From all of us to you guys, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.